make like 70 grand a year. That went down to like 45, and I was like, geez, like that's not cool. Like and then I got general business. I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
Right.
And then I thought, man, I just want to do something cool. And a friend of mine was like, I'll just get your job at Bally's. You can be a retail manager. And I thought, well, okay, why not? If I don't like it, I can always leave.
Okay.
And I ended up loving it because, you know, at first you're thinking, yeah, he's making smoothies. I wasn't just making smoothies. I was actually hiring and firing employees because I needed employees to run the pro shop. I was doing all of the ordering. I had to understand all the, you know, the Bally Total Fitness system, protocol, manual, handbook, all that stuff. I was actually engaging with those different vendors from Pepsi-Cola or, you know, Worldwide Nutrition to bring in I was doing all the ordering of nutritionals. So then I had to actually go through the back end and figure out like, okay, what are we selling? And I used to get into arguments with our regional because I would never hit quota. And I used to be like, gosh, like I'm not hitting this quota. Like what the heck? And everybody else was hitting theirs. And we would have like these monthly meetings and they'd say, yeah, Phil, like you're at 96%. Like, and then one day I told her, I said, listen, you're more concerned with the percentage of the quota, but you're not concerned if that same person is keeping the damn lights on. See, I can discount this water for my friend.
Right.
But what's the profit margin
There you go.
for each store? I said, let's just focus on that. She, of course, got clowned.
Right.
And then basically every other retail manager in the state hated me because they're like, yeah, you outed us. And I'm like, no, like you guys are losing money. All of them should be fired.
Wow.
Because they're hitting their quota.
Yeah.
But yet you're losing money. So they're like, well, I'm at 54% profit margin for a retail store. That's pretty damn good.
Really good for a retail store.
That's really good.
Yeah.
You guys are 38%.
Yeah.
So who's making money here? So, you know, I remember thinking of, Phil, you have to embrace that as this little shop is yours. You own this.
What a great lesson.
And if you don't treat it like that, if you just treat it just like a job, you'll just be a regular dude. But if you treat this like a real, like this is your shop.
Yeah.
If everyone walked out on you and you still show up, which if Jane went out partying the night before, got sick, who had to show up? I did. And I did it without complaining, maybe a couple times, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, it taught me a lot. And it also taught me with regards to when I wanted to become a professional bodybuilder, those supplement companies that I would end up working with.
Yeah.
Which ones do I want to work with? Because I'm like, I don't want to work with you guys. You guys suck. Like, I don't like your products.
Yeah, you knew. You also learned to run a business. So
right.
you such a huge lesson to like bloom where you're planted, right? Like your dream probably wasn't to work there the rest of your life, but you made the most of it and, you know, gained the most lessons from it, grew the most from doing it. There's a lot of people that are listening to the show right now. They're not in their dream right now.
Right.
They got a dream, but they're placed right now somewhere else. Well, you end up making this massive dream come true in kind of like an affiliated way, like a vertical, I guess. You went from Bally's to a bodybuilder. But you gleaned all these lessons from being there. Most people, you know this, brother, they just kind of like they're unconsciously where they are. It sounds to me like you were really conscious. And when we were prepping, I want to talk about how you go from there to becoming a bodybuilder. But then, I mean, I don't think most people, you know, Phil Heath, 7-time Mr. Olympia. It's like, my gosh, the amount of work that must have taken, the amount of mental fortitude. And you say, like, you believe all people were born to do something, like, really special with their life, right?
100%.
Like, elaborate on that. But did you think that then? Or have you, like, sort of realized that now that you've really done something special with your life?
A little bit of both. I think I was, I had some prophetic moments in my life. One would be, you know, earning a Division I scholarship and being interviewed by the Seattle Times. Like, hey, Phil, like, you know, do you have any aspirations of going to NBA? I still remember this quote, and I said, I was 17, and I said, I don't know about the NBA, but I plan on being pro at something.
You did at 17.
I said, because I want to be pro at something. And I didn't know what that would be, obviously, but I wanted to, because a professional takes a level of precision with their craft, and, you know, to be a pro at something, that means that person's no joke.
Yeah.
You know, they're not average. And for me, you know, I had an old roommate that nicknamed me the Gift, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so freaking arrogant. Oh, people are gonna lay into me if I use this. And we sat there, and he goes, no, you're the gift because you have one is completely different than this typical negative stereotypes of a bodybuilder. You come from a different background.
Yeah.
And you're able to relate to people in different sports, bringing them into bodybuilding.
It's true.
You speak well, you just look different, and you have a different story. And then one day you're going to share this with people. I mean, he had a moment for sure to see something in me. I was very thankful of that. So I used the nickname, and then I realized that how do I preach this message to others? It's more of we're all born with one, a gift. But it's on us to, when they say, I got to find my calling. It's like, you already have something special. What you're afraid of doing is working hard at it.
Wow.
You're afraid. And once you step up and you stare at yourself in the mirror and know who the hell you are, and you fail, but you fail forward, and you learn, and you keep working at this, you put yourself in a better position to succeed. And then once you get one level, then you go to the next one. See, a lot of people, they stay at that one level because it's comfortable.
Yeah.
But just like a video game, I talk to kids and they play these games and stuff. As the levels get higher, the difficulty increases as well.
Yeah.
But you have a choice when you die in the game. Continue or game over.
Very good.
It actually gives you a choice.
Yeah.
You actually have a choice in your life.
Oh, Phil, that's good.
So I chose to keep going just to see. And when I started, looking better and feeling more confident, and trust me, my first competition, I had so much false bravado. Let me tell you, I thought walking out there on stage and just having this, like Terminator look, and it was so much insecurity in my heart.
Really?
That's why I did that.
Really?
I wasn't sure of myself.
And
then the crowd's laughing.
You?
See, I thought the same.
Okay.
They're laughing because I done smoked the whole damn show.
You did.
But see how your mind and with your reality is two different things.
Yeah.
I was so scared, man, that I didn't know. And then until this lady screams out, she goes, "Smile, you're beautiful." And everybody starts laughing again. I was like, oh, I guess I do look good.
Wow.
But the whole time my training partners are saying, dude, you're going to smoke this. But I didn't want to believe. It took another person to tell me that. In my time of vulnerability, literally wearing the trunks and stuff, with no mirror in front of me to see if I'm doing it right. And then I owned it.
That's one of my favorite things anyone's ever said on the show. That whole piece right there, what you just said. And I've done a lot of shows. But the fact that we all have a gift in us.
Yes.
And that it's identifying that gift, and that so many of us are afraid.
Yeah.
Do you think that afraid of doing the work? Think they're afraid of doing the work? Are they afraid they're going to fail? Like, it's almost like if I don't know what my gift is, then I can sort of stay in this space of like, I don't know, I'll figure it out eventually.
You're BSing yourself the whole entire time, and then you're going to hate yourself later on because you're going to see that person get what's yours.
Wow.
They're going to you got a very nice watch on. I love it.
Thank you.
I want to get one day, right? Well, if I quit, I ain't going to get it. Then I'm going to be jealous.
Yeah.
That guy got the girl that I wanted, or that guy got the vacation for his family that he wanted. What's preventing you from doing it? You're telling me that man, that woman is any better than you? No. They just did the work, especially when no one was watching their ass.
That's the big thing about your sport, bro. It's not a team. It's a team sport because I suppose you sometimes train with other guys, but I bet in your case you trained alone a lot.
I'm like Chuck Norris, man. Like, I do this alone.
Right. And is that part of that reason? Like, you didn't want to know what you were doing? You wanted to know how you looked? Or is just you wanted the solace of just being in that mode by yourself?
Well, I was raised as an only child.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed, especially playing basketball, hanging out with your friends. But when it came to bodybuilding, I knew that I'm going to be standing on that stage alone. And they have an entourage. So they're so used to having everybody pump them up.
So good.
Tell them how great they are. Yeah. Oh, come on, champ. You got it, champ. And I'm thinking, no. It's just me and the weights. If anything, I'm going to go insane and I'm going to talk trash to these weights. Then I'm going to look at myself in the mirror of saying, do you have one more? I'm literally that nuts. Like, I'm like, you want more, don't you? Hell yeah, let's go. Or, man, that was great. Or, wow, I'm going through a really tough time. And I don't feel it's necessary to have someone carry that for me.
Or you. Yeah.
I don't want them to do that.
Yeah.
And then also, I don't want to be responsible to saying, hey, Ed, I'm training at 2:30 and then I get in a meeting and then I'm late. And then now you're like, gosh, like I really wanted to train with you, Phil, but I got a wife and kids at home. Like I got other stuff to do.
Yeah.
Now I done screwed you over.
Yeah.
And I damn sure don't want you doing that to me.
Dude, you're super interesting to me, man. Like you said this thing on the video game levels.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you got to the highest level of that game.
Mm-hmm.
What happened as you went higher? Take us through for a second, like, I played college baseball, Division I college baseball.
Mm-hmm.
That's a certain level of baseball. That is absolutely not Major League Baseball, though, right? So I know what it took to get to that level, but I also know these other levels. And then to get to the big leagues, to give a metaphor of it, the major leagues of bodybuilding is to get your pro card.
Right.
And then to win a contest is a big deal. But to then win the major, to win the Arnold would be a big deal. But then to win the Olympia.
Yeah.
Then to repeat and win it again. Then to repeat and win it again and again and again and again and to do it 7 times. This is a level of the video game that is bonkers for most people, right?
Yeah.
So what's the separator between, and don't be, I know you're humble, but don't be for a minute. What did you do? You got the gift. You've already always acknowledged genetically, I got a good hand dealt to me. Mm-hmm. But what was different at that level? Because there's a lot of people listening, they want to be that in their business, that in their family, that in their church.
They're lying.
They don't really want it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because are they really saying that for themselves or they're saying that for the world? I think they're saying it to sound cool. I think they're saying it to sound, they're trying to maybe do it for their parents. Mm-hmm. Who held them to a higher standard. Mm-hmm. Maybe they were young and the love was very conditional.
Meaning you perform, I'll love you more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think the world is like that.
So do I.
But God ain't like that.
Right.
So I leaned on my faith a lot, but also I got called out because I can tell you, if anyone's out there and they want to see how I had imposter syndrome, 2010 Olympia, 2009 Olympia, I had food poisoning. So I did everything in my power to still compete. Okay. EMTs are at my room, till 5:40 something in the morning. And I was like, God, please, I just want to compete because I just met all these fans from all over the world at the meet and greet and I don't want to let them down. So I competed and got 5th. I was like, okay. And then I did the Arnold Classic, got 2nd. So I said, okay, I'm getting momentum. And then it's just myself and Jay Cutler.
Who's a friend of yours.
Yes.
Right?
Who definitely he's an iconic figure in our sport. And Joe Weider is up there on stage as well. And they're getting ready to read off the next name, being at the, Olympia. And they said Jay Cutler. Now, I was actually happy he won, not because we were friends, but because of how heavy the head that wears the crown.
Really? Holy smokes.
Because you realize when you're friends with someone that is the champion, and he lost his in 2008 and then regained it in 2009. But I saw Ronnie Coleman with his number 8th. And I've seen how fans treat people. I've seen how reporters treat people when they're multi-level champions and stuff. You go from the hero to the villain sometimes, because people just, I just want to see someone else win.
Yes.
The whole Tom Brady effect.
Yes.
And I saw that play out, and I thought, man, I don't truly feel. I didn't know this right away. Mm-hmm. I dissect not just game, film, and basketball. I dissect myself in bodybuilding. Mm-hmm. See, I don't think a lot of athletes do that in our sport. Mm-hmm. They're posing and stuff, but do they really rewind the tape? Not in admiration, but in critique of their body language. Mm-hmm. I went by my body language. I exhaled when they read that name. So I started to ask myself, why did you exhale?
You're relieved?
Exactly.
Wow.
I was relieved because of what? I was more concerned over the fact that at prejudging at the Arnold Classic 6 months prior, I was in the lead of beating Kai Green. Then I lost, and I'll be honest, I felt like I got robbed. Mm-hmm. And I said, I'm never going to lose to this guy again. Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't lose to him again. But I didn't win the Olympia. My goal should have been...
Wrong standard. Yeah.
That's been there, done that. Who cares?
Yeah.
not only am I never going to lose this guy again, I'm going to win this freaking show. I'm going to get back. I'm going to get some real get back.
Yeah.
See, I was so focused on just getting some get back on Kai that I was comfortable being just friends with Jay, because also I recognize how people treated Jay when he was chasing Ronnie all those years. They always love second place. Oh, you almost had it, Ed. You almost had it, man. Like, come back next year. We love you, bro.
Yeah, don't you think you can oftentimes in life be getting so caught up in beating someone else that you cheat yourself out of the capacity of what you could have been had you were just trying to be your best?
Exactly.
Right.
Run your own race.
When you say that race, though, when you say, hey, I want to unpack what you said there. So I said, hey, a lot of people are saying right now they want to be that level. And you go, no, they don't. They're lying. Is it because you know what's required to do that and most people are not willing to pay that level of price? And that's what they're lying to themselves about?
Yeah. I truly feel that when it's between you and that opportunity, or you and that person who's going for that job, that promotion, how competitive are you really with yourself?
Yeah,
you truly have to know who the hell you are to exude that confidence, not arrogance, but that confidence, because you did the work and you're willing to receive the good, the bad, and the ugly that comes with that job.
Yeah.
When I'm no military guy, but I love our military. When we see in a film and they say, I need 5 men to go do this mission, and they all stand up.
Yeah.
Are they scared? No, I don't think so. There might be another person that's scared that didn't stand up. Or there may be one person out of that 5 that's like, I guess but I don't think so. I think when they stand up, they know what the assignment is. They know that they may not make it, but they're going to do it because they trained to do this and they love to do this. And in 2010, I definitely looked great. I mean, I looked awesome. In fact, I look back and I'm like, man, I maybe could have won that,
Yeah.
But mentally, I wasn't ready. And emotionally, see, those emotions, I should never claim something that I'm not emotionally conscious, emotionally equipped. I should stand up there. So to fast forward, I told myself, you're the biggest wimp. You're a chump.
Really?
You'll never do another interview with Flex Magazine, Muscle and Fitness and say you're going to be the champ. Oh, you do the hype thing. Like, oh yeah, beat your chest. Yeah, man, I'm going for the title next year. Yeah, this is mine. It's like, really? Because you just punked out right there and no one else caught you this time. Maybe the next time their asses will. And you don't like living with yourself.
Wow.
See, so I didn't like living with myself with those terrible standards. But the world, second place, man, ain't too bad.
Right.
You're just right there. You're so close.
Yeah.
Sponsors. Second place ain't bad, Phil. Second in the world. We'll go ahead and, renew your contract and stuff. Whatever you need. What do I want? Looks cool to see what Ronnie Coleman did. I was there when he won number 8.
You were.
And I got a chance to hang out with him till 7:30 in the morning. And I love that. The fact that I got to see it. I got to eat the same food and I got to go to the nightclub. I did all this stuff.
I could see it on your face.
And I was just pumped, man. Yeah. And I'm thinking like, oh, he was able to, wow, he owns a house. He owned his mom's house. Like he was able to buy the cars he wanted. Like he was able to travel the world and have lines longer than train smoke to meet with him. I met with Ronnie in 2004. I was waiting in that line for 4.5 hours.
You were? Wow.
Then I meet Jay and I see Jay accomplish these things. I'm punking out, man. Don't I want that?
Right.
And I'm probably doing a disservice to every person who's ever poured energy into me. I'm punking out, man. But I still got to choose.
Yeah.
Because they'll still be okay. Because they've never achieved it.
You're right.
Your high school
live
teacher,
with yourself if you don't?
Hell no.
There you go. Yeah.
So I had to plant a flag. I said, hell no, this is mine. And it wasn't even about beating Jay. It was about being the best version of myself.
Love
because I don't care. And we're going there. I didn't give a damn if Ronnie would have came back. I didn't care who was going to step on that stage. If Dorian Yates was reincarnated, whatever, Arnold, whoever. I was like, I'm going against King freaking Kong, man.
Yeah.
And that's what I just felt it in my spirit. And I owned it every rep, every set, every freaking workout, every cardio session. I knew what it was going to require. And then when I won, it's like the synapses in my brain, like it went to like childhood, early adulthood, all these different Y's in the road brought me here.
You did. You like flashed.
It was just like super flash. It went all the way back when, I was just a kid and seeing violence, seeing my parents split up when I was 3, like what that felt like to being told, later on, like you didn't make the basketball team, to being on the team, to winning state, to going to play college, didn't like your coach, like how it made you feel, going through mental health issues in college, like to get into bodybuilding, to turning pro, to, meeting Joe Weider, to then literally, even before that, like having no money, because bodybuilders, you have no money, had no money, but finally met Joe Weider, got a signed contract, literally had a car that was flooded and had no forms of transportation to sign with Joe Weider, taking that $5,000 check, buying a 2001 Lincoln LS8.
Nice.
Bringing that car back, wearing the shorts, wearing the tank top, wearing the bandana, looking like Sean Ray, and I get in an accident 2.5 hours later. I get rear-ended.
That's awesome.
I get rear-ended right before I turn pro, like 2 weeks out, having to go through, oh my gosh, my back goes out a week before, to all these different things.
Your back went out the week before you won the Olympia?
No, the one before I won my pro card.
Oh my gosh.
So wow. I'm like,
that's just
I did all this stuff.
Yeah, to lead to that moment.
I was like, man, I didn't give up, man.
That's so awesome.
Thank God, man. I didn't give up, man, because I'll tell you, like, if I would have gave up and I would have just been comfortable, that would have been my new comfort of being second.
Oh, wow. It's so good.
I would have never gone there. And
this is good.
That, oh my gosh, that feeling.
Yeah. So you didn't immediately feel, I'm just curious. So you win, your dream happens. So you're saying making your dream happen, say this for everybody, or let us in on it, exceeded, met, or didn't meet your expectations, like emotionally when you hit it?
I had arrived.
That's cool.
That's how I felt. It was all worth it. This is your new start. Because now you're Mr. Olympia. You're not these guys. You've already beat them. You've already, that's in your rear view. And fans may look at that as like, oh, that's cocky. It's like, no, man, I did the work. Right. I know the secret to my own success.
You found your recipe.
Right. And can I tweak it now? Absolutely. How did Ferrari win all those championships? They tweaked it.
Very good, Phil.
Right?
Very good.
What was it? 0 to 60 in 8 seconds, the first car. And then, they got better and better and better. I look at that and I say, well, why not me?
Very good.
So I put something out there that was nuts. I said, I'm going to win 10 of these damn things.
That's great.
And people were like, this guy, freaking arrogant a-hole, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. I'm like, well, wait a minute. If your kids tell you, dad, mom, stranger, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they say, doctor, lawyer, I want to be entrepreneur, YouTuber, whatever. You don't piss on their parade.
Right.
Yeah. So who are you to tell me any different?
Yeah, throw it out there. What do you think? I'm going to ask you a couple things about this. You are saying some things in this interview that are some of my favorite freaking things I've heard. It's got some credibility because it's you, right? Like, because you did this. This isn't theoretical. But so why don't most people repeat in life? Like, I think of entrepreneurs. I know a lot of people that used to be rich that aren't anymore. I know a lot of people that were really, really doing well for a while, then they weren't. I know I work with a lot of athletes that win one major golf tournament and never win another one. Or they get to a title belt in the UFC or in boxing that I've worked with, and they can't repeat as champion. What is it about repeating? So was repeating harder or easier? And was, keep climbing, right? Winning 2 is better than winning 1. Winning 5 is better than winning 4. So not only did you win, but you repeated. So you sustained a level of excellence over an extended period of time. So in life, most people never touch their potential. But the few that do, very few of them then exceed it and continue to stretch it out further and further and further, go to the next level of the video game. What is it that made you do that? Was it just a mental thought of, I got the recipe now, I'm going to tweak it? Or was it this, you threw out the big goal, so you hit the one goal of once, and you're like, forget it, it's not 1, it's 10. So the finish line got further away or got bigger, and that caused you to do the work. Do you know what it was?
Yeah, when I did my first Arnold Classic, I put it out there that I wanted to be top 3.
Okay.
Being top 3 got me 5th. See? So sometimes you say like, oh, I want 3rd. It may not work out like that.
Very good.
You got 5th. See, I know, I won't mention his name. A friend of mine, he won 1 Mr. Olympia. And he said all I wanted to do was win 1. And that's all that happened.
Mm-hmm.
So you sell yourself short. And you know, I think that's okay. That's their dream, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
For me, hell no. I looked at it for what it was. I was, you know, young enough and I was good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have any injuries at the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was more like, why not?
Why not? Do you fall in love with the process and not just the destination too?
For sure. It was like, I mean, how can I transform this body into this is crazy. Like,
yeah.
And it comes from hard work, discipline, all that. But when I recognized that I could do this better, again, I'll talk about video games. It's like the best thing is not just to get your, you know, I'm like old school arcade guy. Mm-hmm. So like we go to arcade. Oh, I got my name in the game, but you're 10th, dude. Don't you want to be a number 1? And that's how I looked at it. It was like, okay, well,
you're fast.
I have an opportunity, if I choose to play that game again and just challenge myself. Like, how big can I go? I mean, it could be, you know, in anything. It could be literally anything. Just how competitive with myself can I do this? How can I gamify this?
Yeah, you there's a level of competitiveness with you that's almost scary. Even when I first said to you, hey, there's all these people that want to be the number 1 in what they do. Not only did you say they're lying, but you said it with a level of like disdain and almost anger, like you don't know what this is, and that's mine. There's the great athletes that I work with or that I know, or even the elite business women or businessmen that I know, they are psycho-competitive. Mm-hmm. They want to beat everybody, but they also want to find this, they want to explore their capacity.
Yes.
And that's, I mean, you just kept exploring it and exploring it and exploring it. I'm curious, like physically training. Mm-hmm. So for me, I've never felt smaller in my life sitting across from you. I was telling the producers, I was telling Sarah here, like when he gets in here, I will never look smaller in my life. But I know for me that when I'm training for something, I train harder than when I'm just training. And I'm an amateur at any sport I do, right?
Right.
But I mean, or I've got some real clear goal. Like right now, I'm trying to go from like I was like 226. I want to just see what it would be like to get my body at 185. I'm just curious as to what it'll look like, and then I'll play with it when I get there. People are like, why do you want to do that? I don't really need to lose the weight. I just want the physical challenge of doing it. I want to see if I can express my body differently at 50 years old, right? So I'm trying to do that. So I'm training more focused because I've got this clear goal. I'm curious, when you would physically train, you're going in there to do, which the hardest thing for everybody is leg day. Is there a part of you like flashing? I'm not kidding either. I want to know this. Are you like flashing to the Olympia? You're going to be on the stage? Like as you're grinding through legs, are you just doing the process? Or is there part of you that like kind of visualizes the dream, maybe just even like a flash of it when you're training or when you're driving to the gym or when you're going home? Are you in a continuous state of thinking about the ultimate outcome, or do you just execute all the time?
I sit with myself prior to training for a comp, and I try to visualize based on what I previously have done.
Okay.
What I want to improve on. So you mentioned leg day. So one of the things I realized was I had really good leg development. However, I wanted to maximize it to neutralize another competitor's leg development. Okay. See, so my mind was thinking like a boxer of saying, this guy's got a great jab, man. Yeah. Now my jab may not have to be as good as his, but I got to be able to move accordingly just to do the counter. And if I can neutralize his strength, now he's got to deal with mine.
Very good.
So when I'm doing, legs, my mindset was, you must treat this day better than any other day.
This one right in front of me.
This leg day, because average person, if I say by a raise of hands, who wants to train arms with me? Everybody's going to raise their hands. If I say chest, if I say legs,
that's right,
they start squirming.
Yep.
So I recognized that I was probably the same. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to produce a challenge to myself. So I did legs twice a week.
You really?
And cardio. So you're not in the most advantageous scenario where, your legs are fresh, right?
Right.
You're like dying, and I'm thinking, but I need that pain. I'm going to go to a different level
Very good.
of like, do you really want this? And there was days that I remember one time I'm training in where's that? San Jose, in California, with my old trainer, Honey Rambod, and he's putting me through the paces, and he says, okay, do walking lunges. And my girlfriend at the time, now fiance, Cherie, was just like, you didn't tell him when to stop. He goes, I know. He goes, but he knows. He's just going to keep going.
That's awesome.
So we kind of know, like, okay, do 4 sets of 50 yards, this and that, you know. He trusts me. It's more like Phil Jackson and Jordan type of thing.
Yep.
I just kept going. And I just went until I had tears in my eyes. And, you know, she thought it was sweat. And then she realized he's like wobbling and this and that. And I'm like struggling to get up. And then she like ran over and Honey, I could hear him in the background because I had my headphones on. And he was like, no. Told her no. And I looked back and I was like, I kept going until I was ready. We get in the car, we go eat. And then she later on asked me, what was that about? And I said, well, he may not tell you, but like he and I we understand each other. He knew I needed that. She's like, well, what is that? I said, my dad had just died. And I heard him say, keep going.
Oh,
you ain't done.
Wow.
And he was a tough dude, man.
Yeah.
So I was like, I had already made a commitment that I was going to go the extra mile to make him proud. And then I thought, well, I got to go to a place where I'm almost hallucinating.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm in my spirit.
Yeah.
And then I could keep going. And that was like so special for me because I went to another level that I know damn well other people aren't willing to go. And they talk about the zone. So you can be in the zone playing hoops, right? You know, you hit unconscionable threes, you know, like Steph Curry, this and that. You just keep shooting. You're like, man, I can't miss. You can do that in bodybuilding too.
Do you really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You've had guests like Joe Dispenza and stuff. Totally.
Yeah.
You trick your mind and you stay in your spirit and stuff. And who's to tell you that you have to stop at 12 repetitions? Every now and again, just go. As long as you're not hurting yourself, right? You know, we're talking about tendons and ligaments and joints and stuff. Doing that, then there's a problem. I was in the zone.
Oh, brother.
And yeah, I heard my pops. And that kept me going. And I'm glad he showed up for me.
So cool.
I didn't grow up with him. So to hear him show up for me like that.
That's incredible.
I was like, hell yeah. Like no one's gonna tear me alive. Like my soul's on fire, man. These guys are going to have some freaking hell to pay come September.
I love it.
And I whooped their ass.
I love it.
This was 2013. You know, the 2013, 2014, 2015, like, you know, like I'm like, these guys have no chance because I'm willing to go to places where they won't mentally. They think, now mind you, you watch a YouTube video, the guy could be training, you know, 800-pound squats. I'll never do that. 500-pound bench. I'll never do that. But the intensity, I would outlast them. No question about it. We pick a certain weight and a certain given time when they don't want to do it. You know, I was just, and I embraced that, as our friend Tim Grover would say, the dark side.
Yeah.
I freaking love that part.
Yeah, brother, there's so much depth to you, and your ability to articulate it is unbelievably special. And I'm over here like ready literally to punch you and let you punch me back.
Yeah.
Like I'm so fired up. Right? Like, I'm just, I have to tell you, like, there's so much to unpack in things you say. So this idea of hallucinations, hallucinating is such a great thing to do. It's got such a bizarre connotation for people, but great people hallucinate a lot. They hallucinate about what they're capable of. They hallucinate about what it's going to be like when they get there. They hallucinate about how they're going to get through different painful situations. It's such a really unique word that you used. I have hallucinations all the time, and I think they're beautiful. It's a form of dreaming, but it's also a form of inspiration. The other thing is when you push past certain barriers in your life that, most people or even ourselves think we're not capable of, that's when beautiful moments like this gift from your dad showing up reveal themselves to us. And so both of those things happen for a really unique reason.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I just love how you phrase things, and I love the fact that you've done all of them. None of them are theory for you.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about one of the things about bodybuilding. And we're talking about bodybuilding, but we're really not today, right? We're talking about life. It's a metaphor. But someone like you has built, or maybe you're unconscious of this too. You've built a relationship with pain that is unlike what most people have with pain, your relationship with it. In other words, everything that you have to do requires pain. That's not true in every other sport.
Right.
It's not true in most careers. There's elements of it, but you develop, maybe you're not conscious of it, but I'm going to make you be conscious of it right now. You have a relationship with pain that is remarkable because you went through it every single day, over and over and over again. So how do you view pain? Have you ever thought about that? Like everything you did every single day required extreme pain most of the time. So how do you think you have a relationship with it? Like you run towards it every day. You habitually embraced pain. If you think about it, in the gym daily.
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
Very. And I appreciate the opportunity to answer this. I loved it.
You loved pain. Look at your face. Wow. It's dawning on you right now.
Yeah, like the sweat, because it just reminds me of like how many people, they BS. Oh, the blood, sweat, and tears. It's like, what blood, what sweat, man? What are we really talking about? We're talking about like doing the work when you are at your most vulnerable in your personal life or in your business. When you don't feel like it. When your friends have turned against you. When that business partner lied to you. When you're going through divorce. And people are judging you, shaming you. And all I have is the gym. And being in gratitude, thanking God that I have the gym to unleash all of that and be my most authentic self in that process of pain. I'm not out drinking and partying and hurting someone else. I'm actually using a pair of dumbbells and barbells and machines and loud Metallica and hip hop to build something and hoping that what I'm doing is going to create a physique that people will enjoy and do it with a smile on my face. And I think with the pain, it's just necessary. To feel it brought me pleasure.
Yeah.
Because I know that it's required. It's gonna suck. No different than like playing basketball, being in practice, and he says, on the line, and you're like, I really gotta run. Yeah. And then eventually it's almost like you have to trick your mind into becoming a psycho and saying, more, and then you mean it. I want more. If it requires pain inside to become better outside, what better message to my creator and to help other people to deal with theirs? Because people are all dealing with freaking pain. And they're scared to stand in front of it. And it ain't like I don't have demons either that I got to address, right?
Sure.
And I've learned that when you hide or you try to, put them under the rug, that's burning me up inside. So if I got to feel some pain now, what's on the other side of it? Gosh. Triumph. I want the triumphant moment. I have to have it because I'm tired of living in this pain. And that's how I'm not getting ready for a show right now, but if I was in the gym, people would be like, damn, this guy's a machine. But yet I'm like, that's just what I do.
What you do. Yeah, you built this familiarity with pain and you enjoyed it because on the other side of it was growth and benefit. And everyone should re-listen to this. You should share with anybody that you care about in anything in life, because if you can adjust your relationship with pain and understand that the mere presence of it is actually really an opportunity for growth on the other side of it. And that's not some hokey, theoretical weird thing to say. It's an actual truism in life. And I'd like to think I have a good relationship with pain. It's not like yours, because you proved it over and over, day in and day out, that I think, you were called the gift. And you have this unique nuance, man. When I didn't know you, I thought, this dude is not cocky, but wow, a really, really confident dude. I don't think, if you're proving it, it's not cocky, right? It's real. But as I've gotten to know you and meeting you, such a high degree of humility with you too, and vulnerability. Like, you're really a kind, gentle man for being so big and strong. My favorite people nuance that line really close. They nuance tremendous self-confidence with a degree of humility, because confidence without humility, if you have no humility, it means you're not curious. You're not going to grow. You're not going to improve. But then we all have those friends that are really humble but have no confidence. You're always having to pick them up and drag them, right? So there's this right in the middle are the people that I like. They got a lot of confidence combined with humility. You seem to have that. You agree with that?
Absolutely. I think those people you just mentioned, I'm like squirming in my chair, because I'm like, they have no clue how great they can be, and that can inspire others, because they're so afraid of someone else's opinion.
I think most dreams are stolen because of people's concerns about what other people think about them.
Yeah, it's calling yourself humble all the time and this and that. And, man, what do you really want?
Yeah.
I used to tell people, like, I remember watching the Sugar Shane Mosley and Floyd Mayweather fight.
Remember that fight?
And there was a moment in time where he stunned Floyd.
He sure did.
What did he do, though, after? Yeah. He stopped. He
stepped back.
He kind of looked like.
He did.
Did I just do that?
I remember.
Oh, my God. And I remember we were all watching. It was actually a weekend where all the pros actually get together at an event, and we all guest post together. Okay. So we watched the fights together.
Okay.
And we're all like, this is the moment. And then I said, nope, he's going to recover, and it's over now. And we saw what happened.
Yeah.
And then we're all kind of like stunned, and I stand up and I go, you guys don't get it. That window of opportunity, all he needed to just go through that window, but then as he goes through it, it's open.
Yes.
Everything is open now. Through a needle. He thread the needle.
Yeah.
He had his chance, and that never came again. We've never seen Floyd get rocked like that.
Yeah, right.
And because Floyd learned, he's stupid.
And the truth
he gave me an opportunity to get back.
Yep.
He could have wailed on me right there.
And Shane was never the same after that either.
No, because he was. But we look at their demeanor. Now boxing is much different, but they're selling a fight. And
it's a great analogy.
But
it's a great analogy.
Did Mosley put in the work? Absolutely. He's a multi-champion as well.
Great fighter.
But he was so nice. We'll always say that. Man, he was nice.
Yeah.
What we say about Floyd, we say all kind of crazy stuff about Floyd. But we can't say that he was a loser.
Yep.
He was a winner.
Yep.
They could say, oh, he picked this fight. He still won.
Yep.
And when someone had the opportunity to knock him off, they didn't. And if he would, I swear, if we got Sugar Shane in a room, he'd probably admit it.
He'd say, I had him. I should have jumped on him.
Yep. I should have pounced on him and beat the hell out of him.
You're unbelievable, bro, because that's such a great metaphor in life. It's very true. These little windows open up in our lives, and they're not going to keep coming. And when they open, you better jump on them. You better get through them, because if you don't, they may not come again. And I think in those moments, it's what you said earlier. I think in those moments, there was something in Shane that was different than there was something in Floyd. Because, by the way, Sugar Shane Mosley was a great fighter. There was that moment in that fight. And by the way, Shane was a little bit maybe past his prime in that fight. But there was a part of Shane that I think didn't think he deserved to beat Floyd. That's exactly what you said earlier, and you're nodding yes. And Floyd still believed he deserved to whoop his butt in that fight. And that window opened up for Floyd. He jumped on it, and the rest is history. Floyd kept winning fights after that. So, man, what a great analogy.
Right?
Do you use that a lot? I was reading, you were saying that you part of your work that you do, and by the way, you should be following Phil, because if you want to, the ultimate, there's lots of different people in life. There's motivational people. There's inspiring people. Then there's these motivating and inspiring people are awesome. Then there's people who their life is motivating and inspiring. You're both. You're a motivating and inspiring person, the way you behave and what you talk about, but your actual example of your life is motivating and inspiring, right? So I'm like, what unpacks that? How does this happen? And you said there's something about like reality and emotional triggers, which sort of feeds into what you were just saying a little bit. Talk about that for a second. What do you mean by that?
Well, people have to recognize what triggers them to do this or that. I think, and I had to learn this, when dealing with adversity, how do I respond? Do I respond or do I react? They're two totally different things.
What's the difference?
Sometimes when you react very poorly. You react out of insecurity. You react out of anger. Your emotions are out of check. When you respond, you're at peace with yourself.
Okay.
You've already practiced this.
Okay.
See, when someone says, "Hey, Mariah Carey, go sing this," she knows how to respond to that. Eminem goes spit a verse. He knows how to respond to that. Someone that's unprepared, they react like, "Oh,
good point."
They react. Why now? Why now? Like, hold on, I'm not ready yet. Let me pull out my So,
Okay.
No, you know how to react. I want to respond.
Really good.
How do you respond to the challenges in your life? And that takes practice. But it's really unpacking like your darkest, your darkness, the things that prevent you from succeeding, the times that you procrastinated and that window of opportunity passed you by. And a lot of the time, I mean, look, like I can't say that hasn't happened to me.
Me too. Yep.
But I learned from it. And I think as soon as you learn from that stuff and you do what we call like a forensic audit on your emotions, and you write that stuff down, my standards have always been high.
Obviously. Yeah.
My insecurity has been high as well. And I've used both.
Even in the peak of your career, do you still have insecurity?
Yeah, because I'm not secure with the peak. Oh man, I mean, when I won number 4 out of 7, started to get some mad chirping going on. And that was around the time where people started like you heard a couple boos. And I thought, oh man, I remember our league president, Jim Mangan, said, the hell with them. You're like Tom Brady, man. Just take the trophy and you won it fair and square, this and that. Don't let that bother you. Well, I did.
It did bother you.
It did bother me. And then the false narrative started coming out like as if I wasn't deserved something. And then there was a documentary out a year prior, Generation Iron, that made me look like I didn't earn anything. And I was gifted everything.
Yeah, you're just naturally gifted.
So I was just like, oh my gosh, I'm not being appreciated for my hard work. So I was having like my Kanye moment where I was just like, I want my respect.
Yep.
You're going to respect me. And then I thought, you know what? The more you speak on this stuff, Bill, the more people are hating on you more. You're attracting these demons, these devils. And then I went into a darker place and I said, I can take it and I'll flip it around.
Leverage it.
Because at that phase of my life, I had, dad passing, divorce, which was very expensive, a business that failed, very expensive, stepmom passed.
Sheesh.
And I'm supposed to be the best in the world. These are like 3-4 consecutive years. Things are happening. And I wasn't really vocal about it because I grew up as an only child and I just was kind of taught just to keep it to yourself and just focus on the craft.
I appreciate you sharing that, though.
So I ain't no different than anybody else.
I love that you say that because I think people would think you are.
Oh, hell
and
no.
I think the gift sort of sometimes makes people think that, right? The fact that you're really vulnerable today, brother, I really appreciate that because even for me, it's inspiring. I have tons of insecurities. I have learned to leverage them. In our life, all the decisions we're making are either to gain pleasure or avoid pain. Both are great mechanisms. So I have things I want to chase that I'm dreaming about, that I visualize that I'm moving towards. That's gaining pleasure, right? It's going to make me happier, more blissful or whatever. That's wonderful. also avoiding pain is a powerful emotion. It's a powerful mechanism to move us. The fear of losing is not always a bad thing because it can cause you to train hard to avoid the pain of losing.
We're losing a business.
Right. So a couple last things, because like we can go 8 hours with the wisdom that you have. And like I've got to like 20% of the things that I wanted to ask you. But one of the things I did want to know about was your faith. You've referenced it a few times today, and I know how important it is to you. Is that a new thing in your life? And how important and what role does faith play in Phil Heath's life?
I always had it, but I think I don't want to say afraid of it, but because I think when you say afraid of it, it's just that you don't want to be held accountable.
Yeah, you may be afraid to let God down sometimes too, right? I've had that. It's like, wow, if people, I don't want to let God down too much.
But then I don't want to be a false prophet either.
Right. Yep.
So I think as I've gotten older, I realized, like, how do I want this? Like, I'm 42, so I figure, well, theoretically, I'm on the back 9 of this golf course. How do I want to end it? Because I can't bring none of that stuff with me. It's going to stay here. The trophies, all that stuff. I want to know that I have a real relationship with my Creator and know that I'm appreciative and I'm being in more in gratitude. Because to do what I've done, obviously it requires a lot of hard work, but I mean, I've been injured. I had a couple hernia surgeries. I dealt with that. I had a torn MCL and I still competed through it. Didn't even know I had one until I got the MRI, and they were like, yeah, this has been going on for a couple years. I've had a lot of stuff, and I'm thinking, well, I didn't do this on my own. When I was in my subconscious mind, was I just in my subconscious mind, or did I have a little push from the Holy Spirit? So, so I recognized that later. And then I realized who has been in my corner the entire time, the people that were put in my life at a specific season of my life. And wow, I couldn't have orchestrated this.
That's beautiful.
I found bodybuilding. I mean, looking back at it, I should have been doing it when I was a teen, because of my genetics and stuff. I never thought of that, but everything had a purpose. So, in my documentary, Breaking Olympia, we go through all those things, and we go through my quote unquote last dance. And that wasn't all me.
That's beautiful.
So I recognize now that I'm older, got a little wisdom. What if I max out on my faith?
I love that.
Let's just see how further I can go. And especially with what I see happening in the world today with very timid men. Very timid. And I'm not saying I'm the baddest man on the planet. I'm not. But I'm man enough to admit that and to work on that and to receive love and to give it. And, that couldn't have happened without having a strong faith. And understanding that it's not about how many trophies I can win. It's about how I can make people feel about themselves and produce some principles in their life with some reassurance that, hey, it takes one to know one, right? You know, I can't just, do this and do this. You're going to have to. Certainty of this, it's like, nah, man, like this is what I did when I was going through a divorce. This is what I did to kind of maintain focus. Oh, when I was guest posing in 2014, and it just passed March 29th, 2014. I'm guest posing at Dave Lieberman's show in Cleveland, Ohio. Get in the car, find out that my dad just passed, and I knew he was going to pass. He passed young. He was 65. But I get to the hotel and I realize, oh wow, I have to be a professional because I have a VIP event at a restaurant and I'm going to meet 200 people.
Ooh.
So what do I do? I had a choice. I could either and I did this. I lifted up my laptop. Where do you think I went? I went to Facebook.
Yeah.
I typed out one sentence and I slammed that damn thing and I turned it off. Almost threw it. I was so angry with myself because I said, the world doesn't need to know this right now. How do you feel right now? You immediately go to social media.
Yeah.
These people don't care about you, Phil. How do you feel right now? Okay, give myself a moment. I didn't shed one tear. Okay, was that because you're callous or this? No, I love my pops. We were just starting to reconnect after all these years of not him being absent. Okay, get a shower, get this stupid bronzer and tanning off and see how you feel then. No tears. Then, Phil, it's not time yet because you got 200 people downstairs at this restaurant that have paid money to see the man. Called him my best friend from college, best friend to this day. Put him on FaceTime. I told him what happened. We raised a glass, I did my shot, and went to work.
That's awesome.
And I didn't tell that story until later because, it wasn't necessary. And that's where, I felt like, my faith was stronger because I recognized that my dad did live and he is not gone. He is with me more. And he probably gave me some boost in that moment and said, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
You go do, because that's what he would have said. Like if he could have just appeared, he'd have been like, I'm good. I'm not sick anymore.
Yeah.
But you got these people down here. You better go take care of them.
Beautiful, bro.
For me, it's paramount because I want to touch the world in a way that has zero to do with flexing